Hello, loves, and welcome back to the podcast. I am your host, Fallon Jordan, and if you've been in my sphere for a while, I'm very passionate about mental health being really brain health, and I'm really passionate about types of therapy, especially for trauma. And let's be honest, we all have some type of trauma. And EMDR has been a go-to for me, and I'm constantly referring people to EMDR. And so I'm so grateful that I get to have another person to share with you guys, and that is Kristina Scaglione. And she is not just an EMDR therapist, but she does CBT. She specializes in Imago therapy, which you might have heard me briefly mention at some point. Not a lot of people do that work, guys. That's a very, very cool specialty. Um, Tapping in, you really do a lot of cool things. So just before we get out of the gate and go to this fun place, I wanted to make sure people knew what states you're licensed in, because that's always the biggest concern. And I want
Yeah,
to
of
make
course.
sure that people know where you are.
Yeah, so I'm licensed in New York, Florida, Connecticut, and Massachusetts.
Amazing. So that's 4 states, guys. So either you're in that state or someone you love, but that's sometimes the tricky part, right? And I've tried tracking all of my friends and colleagues in the states that they're licensed in, and it's hard to do. So I would love to hear. So we're gonna get into the different things that Kristina does. I'm curious what your human design is, because you do a lot of different things and have a lot of shared passions when it comes to helping people heal and helping practitioners grow their practice. When did you know that, yes, I'm meant to be a therapist and I love this work, but then you wanted to take it a step further into this land where you are that we're going to share with everybody?
That's really funny. I've been asked this before, and I would say I didn't know I always wanted to be a therapist. My therapist knew that I should be a therapist before I knew that I should be a therapist.
Biggest
so
compliment in the world.
yeah, so when I was in my 20s, I was actually getting EMDR therapy, and my therapist was like, "You would be really good at helping people hold space and healing people with trauma." And I was like, sure." So, long story short, she basically pushed me to do the application for my master's, and I mean, she all but basically filled it out. And then I did my personal essay, and I got accepted to Stony Brook University for social work, and which is where I went. And then for the first year, they do like icebreakers when you're a first year student, right? So every class was like, "Why do you want to be here?" And my answer was always like, "I don't know." So I just kind of wanted to go with the flow and see what spoke to me. And then when I learned how broad social work was, I realized that I could really make a career out of this if I could fine tune exactly the population I wanted to work with. So I tried a little bit of everything for the first 2 years, and then I with the help of my best friend I was telling you about before, that shot those pictures behind me, she changed my specialty focus, because I had a specialty focus in hospitalization and things like that. And she's like, "That's going to add another year to your schedule." She's like, "I'm changing that, and I'm submitting something different." So she
Love
changed
that.
it, and I ended up graduating 6 months after her. And then I went into, I would say, a mix of private practice and like a mezzo is like a middle sized, I guess, population. And so I worked at an adult home facility for a while, and I was working at a private practice at the same time. And I was able to assist people with a wide range of issues. And what I ended up deciding that I really wanted to focus on was holistic counseling. So fast forward 7 years, and then I decided that that's what I'm going to really spearhead, and it's kind of evolved into this huge entrepreneurial uh, endeavor. It's gotten a lot bigger than I anticipated. So
Absolutely. And if you feel very expansive and spacious, and even just the property Limitless Integrative Wellness, I definitely wanted to hear more about what you're doing there, because it's really incredible. And I feel like,
yeah, so I decided along my own healing journey, my own health journey from 2020 to 2022, I was going through this like phantom disorder that no one could diagnose. What it ended up being was a vaccine injury. And I didn't, everybody that I went to basically at that time of our world, people were like, "Don't say those words. Like, vaccine injury is like more taboo than anything that you could have said in 2020." So fast forward to 2022, and my hair's falling out, my menstrual cycle is completely disrupted. I'm getting these rashes all over my body, and no one can help me. no one was able to help assist me. I did cleanses, I did juices, I did vitamins, I did all these different things. I modified all my life. And I'm like 38 and I'm looking at my life like, why do I feel like this? What is going on? I ended up kind of pulling from people that I already had in my life, but I wasn't necessarily consulting. And there was a nutritionist that I knew through a business networking meeting from years prior that I reached out to, and I said, "Hey, do you still do nutrition response? I feel really passionate about my diet matching what I want my lifestyle to look like." So I reached out to her, and then I reached out to a private trainer that I knew from before 2020, and I said, like, I have this feeling, my intuition's telling me I should probably talk to these individuals. Then I end up finding an NP I know. Then I find this person. And then next thing you know, I have this team of different disciplines and modalities that I basically wove together. And each one of them gave me a piece of what I needed to heal myself. So I married Eastern and Western medicine practices. Everybody worked together as a team. That's a big piece of this. None of them poo-pooed anybody else's idea.
Exactly.
And that's not really easy to find. Like there's going to be people that you come across and they're going to say very strongly that this is what it is and don't listen to this person. That's been my experience at least. But with this group, they were like, okay, let's honor this person's idea and let's add this. Let's honor this person's idea and let's add that. And that's kind of where the idea was birthed, was okay, I can make a collective. I can make a collective and I can help my clients who also face a wide range of things, both, because it's not just the mental layer that I work on. I try to help people with the physical layer, the spiritual layer, all these different layers that make us who we are. Can I give that same experience to my clients? And so next thing you know, my founding members for Limitless Integrative Wellness are these people that help me heal. Next thing you know, it's grown and expanded. And now it's been, somebody I recently was explaining this to was like, this is basically a mind spa. This is what it is. It's a mind spa. And I've been running with that ever since.
Absolutely. That's exactly how it feels. And I love the word limitless. Like, I love that word. So, I was telling myself, I'm like, if I'm ever in the area, like, I'm just going to like swing by there because it looks so cute. I don't know much about Long Island, but I like Googled Port Jefferson. It's so beautiful, you guys. Like, it's so cute. It's amazing.
I have boats right behind me. I have a big, huge ferry that goes to Connecticut. It's right outside my door. I have, so New England's only an hour away by boat, but we're also hybrid. So a lot of the providers that I have here that work within this group, they do things virtually as well. So I have psychics, tarot card readers, I have sound healers, I have, hypnotherapists, IV treatments, concierge MD, concierge psych consults. I have the clinical side of it where I have a bunch of different awesome therapists also with, special modalities that no one's ever heard of. So we have a bunch of different types of people that can, they can zoom in. You can still be consulted with Limitless because even though we're in Port Jeff and I have plans to expand into other states, we are limitless. So we are going to expand across the globe if we can.
Oh my God. I love it. Amazing. This is so exciting. And I love like for our community, because I feel like a lot of people are like, they just took the leap or like they're about to make the leap into just like really doing whatever they want. And a lot of times it's being a holistic healer and bringing this community together where we all share ideas because every single person is different. Right. And especially I would just assume the little bit I knew, I was in Atlanta. It was like the wild, wild west with COVID. Like I didn't know many people who got vaccinated, but pretty much everyone in New York did. So you're seeing the vaccine injuries a lot and people need to be heard, right? Like you did, like, this is a legit thing that actually happened to me, but then also like, how can I repair my mind, body, and my soul?
Yeah. So the thing about how that went down in New York, it was, I'm registered as a trauma responder at the hospital. So if there's a situation that they need any extra hands on deck or someone to be like, let's say they don't have anybody there that can treat who's there, they'll call me. And like, so I get phone calls from people that are in and out of Stony Brook pretty frequently as a provider in the area. And because of that, I was on the top of the list to get a vaccine before the rest of the population, because that was a requirement and mandated if I wanted to continue that affiliation. Of course, I had a choice, and I didn't grow up. I would say my mom grew up she raised us extremely holistic, but my mom was also a nurse. And so she walked that line between, what's FDA approved and what isn't. And so she was like, she is very sus about certain things. So I kind of became sus about it too. So I would say that I believe in everybody having their own choice, and I believe everybody should be able to do what they want with their bodies. So I'm not against anybody who does get their vaccines, and I had a choice to get it or not, and I was on the fence, and I ultimately got it because around that time the world was still shut down, so we weren't even flying, we weren't doing any of the things when I was able to get that. But my parents were going, my father in particular was going through cancer treatments. I wanted to see him, and I had to drive from New York to Florida to see him, and I felt nervous going without some sort of protection. So that was kind of the deciding factor for me at that moment. And within 4 days I knew something was wrong. I knew pretty I know my body. I've been in tune with my body for a long time, so I knew something was wrong immediately. And I postponed getting the second shot for so long that they actually lost the batch of what I got my shot from, that they couldn't locate it to give me the second shot, because that's how long I pushed it off for, because I was really trying to investigate and pinpoint how could what's happening in my body, what is going on. And every single person I spoke to at the time, whether it was because they were misinformed or they were fearful, they didn't want to tell me what they really thought until I started to dive into the holistic side of it only. And that's when I found my people. And I was like, okay, I'm not crazy. I found people that would listen to me, because it's really scary to go to what you trust, what you think you can trust, and then be gaslit for 2 years. It's really scary to experience that. So when I was able to find people that didn't invalidate my symptoms, I felt like I could actually start to build a foundation. And then from there, I was able to make my journey back to being healthy again.
Yeah. It's wild. I know, I tell people, I'm like, I got Botox once, and that's the only time someone put a needle in me since I had a choice. Like, I did the HPV as a teenager because I didn't have a choice. But it's the first time someone stuck me with a needle, and I literally felt it in my body for months. And then I was like, I'm done. Like, I just can't put foreign things there.
Yeah. So, essentially all these individuals that I was able to work with, they gave me a little piece of the puzzle. And then I was able, so what you said before was there's probably a lot of people that had vaccine injuries. The term vaccine injury was so, don't say it out loud, for so long here, that it was only this past year that people are like, oh, yes, it totally completely annihilates the female organs. Yes. Oh, yes, that's also this. And oh, yes, these clinics are popping up everywhere. And now suddenly everybody is, I was a pariah for years. And now everybody's like, yeah, I got it. Who does it? And I'm like, are you, you kidding me? So there's a lot of different people that it also, the other part of it that it mimicked, that now we understand, it's mimicking, the vaccine injury is so closely linked to long haul COVID that people are basically being treated the same way in their recovery journey. So I went through this really intense recovery journey with a mixture of Eastern and Western medicine. Like I said, I was working with a group in California who was able to test my blood to see what was happening, to diagnose this. It was a very expensive journey, but when I actually found what worked, I was like, this has to be more accessible. This has to be more accessible to people. So I was telling everybody. I mean, obviously it was not popular. It's not a popular opinion, but I was telling everybody anyway, because I was like, people need to know, not in a way that was like, shame on you for doing this to yourself, but it was more like, do you want to feel better? And so now I have a mind spa where you could come in, you can see me for therapy, but if you walk out of my doors, you can see any of my providers who are all here doing different things. And so they each touch on something different. And then I also have an entire section of just virtual providers, because they're not actually in New York State. One's in New Orleans, one's in Connecticut, one's in Canada. So one's in Florida. So there's just so many different people that we were able to attract to just be part of this woven team to try to help people. And it doesn't have to be based in vaccine injury land. It could be anything.
Exactly. Exactly. That is amazing. I love that. And I definitely want to offline talk to you about the brains technique. It's something my friend divinely downloaded. She's a Chinese medicine doctor, a few episodes about it. But any trauma that's happened from 2 minutes ago to 4 months ago, it's a type of tapping that clears it so it doesn't become PTSD. And with your first responder stuff, I definitely wanted you to look into that. And I'm also just letting everyone who's listening remember, because when I say after 4 months and you have had something, this is where we go into EMDR land. And so I would love for you to just no one's heard of EMDR before, what does EMDR stand for and what does it do? And how can it help somebody who's listening? Because I really feel like it can help everybody with a lot of different things.
Yeah, of course. So I would say first the brains technique is I think that sounds so cool. And you said the person who started that?
Yes, she's one of my best friends, Whitney Natiello. Shout out, we love her. And it's a really easy training. I can even send you a PDF about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely do that.
I mean, I did it for my money stress and it worked, but she used it for people who were victims of the Asheville floods,
wow.
It's the whole thing. Yeah.
I would love to know more about that. I do work with a lot of first responders and even just, trauma in general. I'm right here by the hospital. So
exactly.
I'm like right here. So yeah, I would love to know more. So, okay. So EMDR. So I had said earlier that I went through EMDR myself. And so that particular therapist inspired me to get into this field. And I always wanted to eventually in my career get trained in this. And I was lucky enough to do that within this last year. So EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization reprocessing. And it's a type of psychotherapy that uses eye movements or bilateral stimulation. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, some people have seen this technique in movies or in shows and it's it could be somebody doing this or now it could also be somebody doing this or it could be you tapping on yourself and doing any sort of bilateral stimulation on your legs or on your shoulders, or it could be used with a light or sound. So it could be where you wear headphones and there's a sound here, a sound here, a sound here, and it goes from headphone to headphone. So bilateral stimulation of any kind is what we like to use, and that helps process and heal individuals from traumatic or distressing experiences.
Yay. And we love it. So I did brain spotting and I guess whatever I filled out, my friend Cynthia Schwartzberg, she's like the queen of brain spotting. She's like, yeah, we're not going to do EMDR, we're going to do brain spotting, but it's very similar. So just for everyone who's listening, who's heard me mention both of those, it's all about the brain, right? And this is why when I declutter people's homes and I have my method where I'm basically allowing them to access their subconscious of how something really makes them feel, whether it's a wall or an item or even the entire property. This is why I'm referring to EMDR a lot, because there's people where there's like a significant trauma there. I mean, I had a client who I've never seen somebody have such a traumatic response to something that is everywhere, which is a pen. And I was like, you need to go. She was already seeing an EMDR therapist. And I was like, you guys need to EMDR this pen situation because you need to use the pen in your life. And you're literally so triggered by it.
So interesting. So that's so interesting. And you would be really surprised at what comes up in EMDR sessions, because sometimes even the recipient of EMDR doesn't realize where the link is.
Yeah.
And it just comes up and then the person's like, oh, I didn't realize that was going to come in. And it's so interesting to go through. And even during my own training, we were able to do EMDR on each other. And it was so interesting because, I did EMDR 20 years ago. And not that a lot of it has changed, but I've been certified in a lot of different things before EMDR. So I'm certified in EFT, I'm certified in DBT, I'm certified in advanced holistic counseling. So like there's all these different things that I've learned, and EFT tapping is kind of like the cousin to EMDR. So it's a gentler way of, I would even say even a more accessible version of things, because you can do it by yourself. You don't need a therapist to facilitate. Yeah, you don't need anybody. You can do it by yourself. I tap all the time too. Tapped right before this call. So yeah, so I think what's really important for people to know is trauma and healing it is accessible. It's more accessible than you realize, and it doesn't have to break the bank.
Exactly. And I think that's the big point, because, I do sometimes, like, I think everyone should get a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, and like, yes, they're $10,000, but like, they also could save your life and everybody's life around you, because it's literally oxygen. You need it to breathe. But
do you have one?
No, because I'm in my gypsy era, but like my plan is to have one.
Do you have one? Can I come over?
My plan is to have one at all times. And my plan is to have them like literally everywhere. And like, I have a course where I train practitioners how to confidently use it, because I have one of my friends sells them, and we were like, well, what do I do with this? Like, I'm a nurse, or I have an MD or I'm a therapist. Like, where's that line, right? Like you were saying with your mom, like with the FDA, like
Hmm.
it's FDA approved, but we need to do these things as like a precaution and stuff. But it's all very simple things that we need to understand. Like, we need really good water that has hydrogen. We need really good oxygen that's like clean air and not full of mold and like all these other things, right? Like, we need to allow our brains to heal. And the easiest way to do that is through, like you were saying, the bilateral stimulation. But everything that's going through eyeballs is conscious or subconscious is being processed as, is this safe for me or is this not safe for me? And so
Hmm.
it's so beautiful that like everything gets to be simple. That's like really my word for this week, the Lion's Gate. I'm like, all right, I need something to focus on here.
We're in it. We're
And
in it
it's
now.
like simplicity, like simplicity. And that's really what we're craving, right? Like,
Yeah.
we don't want to be triggered by pens and paintings in our house and all those things that we pushed away. And I feel like I need to share this just for my own stuff. But so Cynthia Schwartzberg is like the queen of brain spotting. So when she came to me many, many years ago, she was doing a brain study with brain spec scans that measure blood flow and brain activity with Dr. Amen. That's who I worked
Okay.
for at the time. She's like, would you be open in doing free brain spotting therapy with me and doing a before and after brain scan? I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Of
Why not?
course. When do I come over? And so I was just being myself, we'll put them myself in quotes, just like excited, grateful. I just show up. I'm not like prepared to do this work. Like I'm in holistic psychiatry, but she's like, so I see here that you checked off on your checklist that you've had a surgery, which is a physical trauma. Do you want to talk more about that? And I'm like, oh, sure. I was like, yeah, I was just like an ectopic pregnancy, like no big deal. And she's like, what? And I'm like,
No big deal.
she's like, when was this? I was like, oh my God, I think it's like my anniversary. That's so weird. It was beginning of August and we're having this session in September. I was like, oh, a month and a week ago, I guess. And she's like, okay, so that's what we're going to be focusing on today.
Wow.
That really helped me because again, I just read The Body Keeps the Score. Like, I'm getting into energy medicine. I literally had people going inside my body and I have a scar. To this day, I still can feel like the scar energy of that scar. And I didn't realize how that was related to so much stuff in my childhood of like having no choice but to be validated, right? Like that was the thing that we processed. And it's crazy. I did 5 sessions of EMD of brain spotting. We did my scan and my PTSD pattern was completely gone.
Wow.
And like, I'm saying that to celebrate myself because it was some really big stuff that came out that,
Yeah.
again, I just kind of walked in and was like, oh, this is going to be fun, like trauma
Yeah.
therapy day. And it's like,
Trauma
not,
therapy on a Monday. It's cool.
not
But
so
that's kind
much.
of a good example of not being prepared for what could possibly be released and also
Yeah,
not being aware of what's blocking you, like unconsciously blocking you.
exactly. Exactly. It was a huge block in my ability to receive love, my ability to be my authentic self. You know, I already had major trust issues with the medical field. And I feel like this just kind of like catapulted my desire to learn as much as I possibly could about
Yeah.
holistic healing.
Yeah. It's also
And
right in your solar plexus above your root chakra. So it disrupts a lot
exactly.
for female energy right there. That's crazy. Also
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. My solar plexus is so great now. But
Good.
I think it's cool because I think I want to know if this is true for you, but a lot of people that I talk to, because I'm telling them specifically, this is what you need to EMDR or whatever, but I'm like, other stuff's going to come up. Just be prepared. Like, make sure you have time for like rest after, like
Oh,
you
yes.
shouldn't be going to back to work. Like, you shouldn't be having to run around, pick up the kids, eat dinner. Like, when you do a session like that, like you need at least 1, if not 2 days to just rest and let your body clear this because you're literally clearing out
Yep.
traumatized DNA. New,
Hmm.
beautiful, what I believe is Christ light DNA is being downloaded into your body, which is a blueprint. You can't do that while doing all these other crazy things. So that's kind of my little loving disclaimer to people is yes, you know, you're going in for this specific thing. You have no idea what's going to come up and you have no idea how your body's going to respond. And you're doing this to heal, right? So you need to
Hmm.
allow it to heal, right?
Yeah, so some of the techniques that I've integrated into my own psychotherapy is I will book somebody in a like if we're doing a session like this, that they're going to be spending time in the salt room that we have here. They're going to be spending time in the red light therapy that we have here. They're going to be spending time with, or directly walking over to my massage therapist who also does lymphatic drainage, Reiki, and
I
trauma
love
release.
that.
They're going to be doing back to back because I need them to go home their best version of themselves while they're doing this work. And sometimes that means like buttoning it up a little bit better than just saying, have a nice day, see you next week. Like that's not enough. So I have room after room after room of services that they're going to be doing back to back so that when they leave here, they're going to feel like, okay, I can get through whatever that was. I can get through, keep that on that shelf or in that safe box or that safe place, and leave it there until the next time I have to come and work on it, which is another reason why having everybody here in under the same roof was so important to me. Because when I was in private practice and not in this type of setting, I was referring people to go do those things. And 9 out of 10 times they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Because they didn't make the time because people are busy and like, oh yeah, sure, I'll get around to it. And then the referral basically goes in one ear and out the other. And then they're not getting all the things that they need. But here, how about a one-stop shop? And if I expand to a point where I can have a chamber, I guess you're going to be coming in to teach me how to use it.
Nothing would make me happier. Like literally nothing. I'm so obsessed with hyperbaric. It's totally doable. Literally, like the chamber, like you can help so many people and get your ROI back like in less than a month. It's crazy. And I love what you said because I think we are craving more in-person stuff in general. And I mean, the world that I live in, it's like, yeah, I go to the center and I do these things, but then I still go on a retreat. And it's like, yes, but the retreat's the bonus. The retreat is not, Kristina recommended that you do XYZ, and one of those is energy healing and solar plexus repair. We're doing that here. The retreat is a bonus for fun. I think people are separating things in a way that, I mean, my dream is to have a place exactly like what you're doing, right? Like you have all of the tools because we have you there. We're going to hug you and we're going to keep you there until you feel like you're buttoned up. And I love that expression because when we're talking about energy and even like acupuncture, Chinese medicine, like you literally have to button up, you have to zip up like your energy so you can go about your day. But like, why wouldn't we want you to do that in your highest and best potential? And I love the salt thing, the red light thing. Like that's incredible. And yeah, like I'm glad that we got you at this point because Limitless Integrative Wellness is going to be a household name. I can just tell.
I hope so. I really hope so. I want to make it accessible to people. I want people to be able to find us. And the larger that we get, I want to have a lot of different things that I feel is obscure for people to find. I want it to be more accessible. Like I don't want somebody to say, oh, I can only find this person that does this in Miami and I have to go all the way to Miami to do it. Well, why don't we just bring it here? Why don't we just make it happen here and then pop up all over the place so people can find us?
Well, I do have a contact in Miami and she would be totally into this stuff. Just an FYI.
All right. Call me.
I have like so many notes. I'm going to introduce you guys. Dr. Zia, we love you.
I'm excited. I'm excited for it. And if you're ever in New York, I'd love to show you around.
I'm manifesting something New Englandy, but I just don't know what that is yet. I'm just letting the universe guide me. But I'm from Portland, Maine, and like a lot of my trauma healing has been about my relationship with Portland, Maine. So I feel like it's a big step in my journey to like go back there and just kind of like have the vacation that I didn't get to have because I was always taking care of everybody else when they were on vacation, like living and working at the beach in the summer, like crazy hours.
Of course.
But yeah, I definitely want to come there. It sounds so incredible and something that we all need, right? Like, maybe, because I work with a lot of families, like the kid needs art therapy. They need to learn how to regulate their emotions. Like they can do DBT, like mom can be just actually relaxing and like resting and receiving in the red light and the massage and the Reiki.
Yeah, and right over there.
Yeah. And then dad, I mean, he can like boost his brain performance doing all of the same things. Like I'm sure, EMDR and DBT, like we talk about manifestation. I mean, I talk about all the time, right? And like energy work and putting the fluid, the Joe Dispenza, like the fluid is moving up your spine and into your pineal gland. But like we can do that with the things that Kristina is already doing and a lot of people are already doing who are Fallon approved trauma therapists. That's the key, is like they have all of the tools that you actually need because especially for men, right? If you want to share about this, like talk therapy for men is not so great.
EFT is all of my male clients love EFT because there's
Yeah,
very little talking. So
exactly.
it's just about like, let's pinpoint it and let's release it, because it's just, we're energetically releasing a lot of things without us having to exchange. And another colleague of mine who does RTM, she loves the modality because there's very minimal trauma share. It's trauma releasing, but you
Yeah,
don't have to share the whole story. If you don't want to,
exactly.
you don't have to.
Exactly. And I think that's so important. And when I worked for Dr. Aben, like I can't tell you how many men like, I've been in therapy and did it. I'm like, this is EMDR, dude. This is not your mama's therapy. Like, you don't have to say anything. Like, in
Mm-hmm.
part of the study that I did with the brain spotting with Cynthia, I filled out the intake, but it wasn't very specific. And she didn't ask me questions until I was halfway through the process of bringing it up in the right set of neurons where the pain was stored, emotional pain, and then released. And I didn't have to answer if I didn't want to. I have so many men who's like, I'm not talking to a therapist again. And I'm like, that's fine, but you're still going to go to EMDR and you're still going to feel better.
Yeah.
And 10 times out of 10, they were able to do that. And I'm so grateful, like for people like Brad Yates. He's like the tapping king in my
Oh my God, I refer
eyes.
him all the time.
Yeah. And he's
He's
so
got
funny.
millions of videos,
I
millions.
know. Oh, he's the best. He's so funny too. And he lives in this world. He's like, I just can't wait to live in a world where everybody's just walking around tapping all the time.
Yes,
And
yes, love Brad Yates.
yeah,
All of
and
my
he
clients know Brad Yates.
yay. I love him. Oh, I love that so much. So I did want to ask about Amigo. I wanted to have your explanation of it because I've only heard it from a psychiatrist and he never actually like told me about it, and it's always
Okay.
intrigued me.
Okay, so I treat a lot of couples, and the Imago relationship therapy is a form of couples therapy focused on using communication and conflict resolution. It fosters healing and growth within relationships. I probably have it sitting here, but I use these sheets that I give my clients to follow along with, and
Mm.
I enjoy. Oh, I do have them. Hold on, because I do this every day. So so they look like this, and
Cool.
each person, gets the sender. They get one sender and they get one receiver, and then we take turns on sharing an issue. And I referee in the sense of I'm there's no interrupting. They have to follow the prompts, and I am constantly pausing them so that they can reframe how they're sending the message. Because the easiest way I can explain it is, when you're in a fight with someone that you really care about, it's not easy, it's almost impossible to remember verbatim what was said, but you will absolutely recall how it made you feel.
Yeah.
So people think that their memory is let's say ironclad, but in a moment of a heated exchange or something that's triggering, and you're just kind of, you're doing whatever you can to try to emote whatever it is that's coming up for you, and it falls short, and then your partner's doing the same thing, and we don't have the right tools to talk it out. what what they remember is how intense it felt to go through that, and the details get lost. So the way that I have to slow down communication with my clients is to help them see how many ways whatever phrase they chose to use could be interpreted, and how many ways that they go into a tangent in explaining something when they could have just did it in a one liner. you
I'm
know
sure nobody here resonates with that at all.
so just to like try to slow it down. And it's I would say it's an older technique. It's not super old, but it was, I think, established or at least created in the 80s. And the dialogue is structured to help couples understand each other better. If you have to follow a prompt in order to speak, you're going to not only be forced to go slower, but you're also going to feel a little silly doing it, which lightens the mood a smidge because,
Totally.
I try to incorporate humor as much as I can in my sessions to try to like make light of it. And I do a lot of different exercises to help people see how we fail in communicating and how we learned how to communicate from our whoever our primary caretakers were and whatever environment we grew up in. And we use that same pattern with the people that we choose to make a new family with, or to make any sort of connection with, because it's not just lovers that will have these quarrels. You can have an issue with a coworker, you can have an issue with a boss, a sibling, a best friend, a colleague. And if you can learn how to articulate what it is that's coming up for you in a slower, more receivable way, that's how Imago works.
I love that. Also just noticed that your key,
Right here.
I have that.
Do you really? That's another photo that my best friend took for me and
That's like
sent to me on my birthday.
really big and healing for me when the period of my life that I had that painting. It's crazy.
So yeah, I have a lot of keys and other things around here. When you come visit, you'll see.
Exactly. Exactly. Amazing. So one more time, just the states that you're licensed in, and then where Limitless Integrative Wellness is, in case people want to.
Yeah, of course. So I'm licensed in New York, Connecticut, Florida, and Massachusetts. And Limitless is located in Port Jefferson, New York, which is a small little hamlet in Long Island. And we're very close to Connecticut. So if anybody from Connecticut is listening, you can just hop on the boat and come on over for a day and check us out.
Oh my
And
gosh,
if you're not,
that sounds so fun.
you can you can also just find us online, and you can book with any of our providers. Like I said, majority of them are hybrid. Even my personal trainer who provides workouts, she does virtual as well. She'll
Cool.
do coaching, she'll do virtual workouts. Pretty much anybody that's here, minus the massage therapist and the IV treatments, you can get everything else virtually.
Amazing. And obviously, guys, all those links are below. And I just want to say thank you so much for doing what you do.
Thanks for having me.
Sharing it with us, because this, I mean, my community who's been with me for a while, like they know like this is like my thing. This is what I want. I want a place where everyone can come and get everything that they need. And you're really the first person I know that's really doing all of it. So I'm just,
well, thanks for having me.
You.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be invited into your community, and I can't wait to talk more about the brain thing you're going to send me.
I know. Oh, I can't wait to, I love that I get to introduce you to some of my favorite people. So
that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, we will see you next time, everyone. I love you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.